afternoon. I'm Shawn Yao and this is One News Now. The Philippine government is expecting the arrival of around 3 million more COVID-19 vaccine doses this week. For the details, Maricel Halili joins us live from Mandaluyong City. Mase, which COVID-19 vaccines are scheduled to be arriving this week? And are the delayed Sputnik V jabs included in this shipment?
Hi, Sean. We're expecting the arrival of around 3 million doses of AstraZeneca. Some of these will be arriving tomorrow, and President Duterte is expected to welcome the arrival of this particular brand. And of course, aside from AstraZeneca, like what you've said, Sputnik V is also expected to arrive in Manila.
All right, and anything from Malacanang on the protocols for fully vaccinated interzonal and intrazonal travelers? There has been some back and forth here, some flip-flopping, and a lot of confusion.
That's right, Sean. We asked Secretary Roque about it earlier, and he said that the IATF resolution is still the same. They have not amended it, meaning once that an individual is already vaccinated, they can freely go to a particular province or particular place even without the RT-PCR. But of course, Secretary Roque said that they will still listen to the appeal of some local government executives. And this afternoon, there will be a meeting among the members of the Interagency Task Force, and this is one of the topics that they will discuss.
All right, another matter coming from the palace, of course, the Finance Department and Education Department wanting the World Bank to apologize for its supposed outdated report on the quality of education here in the Philippines. Any development here?
Well, Secretary Roque supports the statement of the Department of Education. If you recall, Sean, during the press briefing in Malacanang last week, Education Secretary Leonor Briones is one of the guests, and she said that particular statement during the press briefing. And it was actually Secretary Roque himself who asked that particular question to Secretary Briones. Secretary Roque asked Secretary Briones if she thinks that the reason why the World Bank has released such a study is because the World Bank wants to wants the Department of Education to have more loans from the World Bank. And Secretary Briones responded or answered Secretary Roque by saying that, well, World Bank has to apologize first before she answers that question.
All right, and now in politics, we have Bayan Muna Representative Carlos Zarate hitting PDP Laban for using government channels to air its meetings. Did Malacanang defend this in any way?
Well, that's right. Actually, it's not just Bayan Muna. Even some members of the media were also surprised when this particular meeting was aired through the government station yesterday, because in the first place, it's a political party. Of course, there are some connotations, or there are some interpretations that the government station is being used for an early campaigning, considering that, number one, it's pandemic now, so it will be difficult to roam around the country for campaign. As a result, this will be an advantage for the administration, considering that the opposition doesn't have a government or doesn't have their own television station to air their sentiments or their political party. Having said that, of course, it was asked to Secretary Roque earlier, and Secretary Roque said that the PTV4, or the government-owned station, airs all newsworthy stories. This is the reason why they aired the 2-hour meeting of PDP Laban over the government station yesterday. Secretary Roque said that this is similar to their decision to air the wake, the public viewing of a former President Noynoy Aquino, because they feel that it's newsworthy.
All right, and that settles that. Now, Mase, we've also heard that the president has a new political advisor. Can you tell us more about Jacinto Paras? Who is he?
Secretary Paras used to be an official of the Department of Labor and Employment, and he also served as a congressman for a while. But the first thing Secretary Paras did when he faced the media earlier and was introduced as a political advisor is to attack former Secretary Antonio Trillanes.
All right, and do you think this new appointment will have or has anything to do with the president's possible vice presidential bid?
It's difficult to interpret their strategy when it comes to campaigning, Sean. But Secretary Paras said that, of course, part of his priority is to push the agenda of the government when it comes to the bills that he's supporting. This includes the BARM and the tax reform agenda of the administration.
All right, thank you so much for all those updates. Maricel Halili reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. And the shorter quarantine period for fully vaccinated returning OFWs is now in effect. Faith Del Mundo has the report.
Returning overseas Filipino workers who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 are now entitled to a shorter quarantine stay in a facility or hotel. The former 14-day period protocol, which was reduced to 10 days, eventually becomes 7 days only if an OFW can get a negative RT-PCR test result during his or her 5th day of stay. However, returning OFWs must first have their vaccination card or certificate validated by the Philippine Overseas Labor Office or POLO, so that they can qualify for the shortened quarantine period. This was confirmed by Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III in a forum on Wednesday. Bello said OFWs that have completed their vaccination can sign up online to the One Health Pass website. Fully vaccinated OFWs need to upload their proof of vaccination, valid travel document, and verified employment contract so that the polos in their host country can validate their inoculation. The Bureau of Quarantine will then issue the polo-verified certification of full vaccination to the returning OFWs upon their arrival in the country. The protocol is only applicable to returning OFWs who have completed their COVID-19 vaccination abroad and have stayed exclusively within the 57 green countries or low-risk ones.
Magandang development din sa desisyon ng ating interagency task force dahil dati kahit na bakunado ka, dadaan ka nun sa 10-day quarantine. Ngayon iba na. Ngayon 7 days na lang. Pagdating mo, after ma-quarantine ka, 5 days mapaan ka na. Masuswab ka na. And after lumabas at negative ka, pwede ka nang pumunta sa final destination mo. So na-lessen by 3 days ang quarantine period. Malaking bagay yan. Malaking bagay sa OWA dahil mabawasan yung gastos ng hotel, quarantine, food, medicine, and to the OFW, ang laking bagay yan sa emotional burden nila.
But for OFWs like Mary Joy, an HR manager in the UAE, the 7-day quarantine is still a long wait for people who had to be away from their families for quite some time. She is hoping that the IATF can give OFWs like her the kindest consideration they deserve, which for her means implementing a testing upon arrival protocol for fully vaccinated balikbayans like her.
Sana po parang i-consider na lang kami mga OFW na meron namang app dito sa ibang bansa tulad dito sa UAE, may tinatawag na Allocine app, makikita naman doon talagang vaccinated kami. So pagdating dyan, after ng PCR na swab, pag nakita po na negative, sana hindi na lang po kami i-quarantine dahil bago po umalis dito from UAE, nakapakita naman po na para nag-PCR kami, negative, in a matter of how many hours lang naman sa eroplano. So, hindi naman po siguro kami agad mahahawa kung meron man. Hindi naman makakalabas ng UAE kung hindi ka naman po negative. So, pagdating dyan, we do understand na kailangan mag-PCR, pero sana po, pag may result na negative, diretso na lang po sa bahay or home quarantine na lang po. Bawas pa po sa gastos ng government.
However, Mary Joy's appeal might not happen anytime soon since the UAE is part of the list of countries included in the Philippine government's travel ban. Meanwhile, Bello said he has not yet received any reports about OFWs showing fake vaccine cards. The Labor Secretary warned that those who could attempt to do so will face serious charges. For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The United States has delivered weapons worth 48.5 million pesos to the AFP, or Armed Forces of the Philippines. Included in the shipment are heavy machine guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. The U.S. Embassy in Manila said that the donation will help boost the counterterrorism efforts of the AFP. PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar has directed police officers to coordinate with LGUs on travel documents that must be presented in checkpoints. Chief Eleazar told police commanders to implement what the IATF says to avoid confusing the public. The health department had earlier clarified that LGUs may still require fully vaccinated travelers to submit negative RT-PCR test results before entering their jurisdictions. And the Philippine Star reports that vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. has denied that there is favoritism in the allocation of COVID-19 vaccines. Galvez said that the distribution of jabs to eligible recipients is up to the DOH and LGUs. Last week, Iloilo Representative Janet Garin accused the government's COVID-19 task force of favoritism in the vaccine rollout. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.